of professional English. So before getting into the topic, I want to ask some questions. We'll just have a brief geographical lesson. So I'm going to show you flags of 6 countries, and I want to tell the names of those countries. So starting with this first one,
It's
China, please.
America, USA.
Next.
Germany.
Germany.
India. France.
Indonesia. Nigeria. So these 3 countries, they have something in common. As you can see, they are all mostly agriculture-based countries in the past. So USA was mostly colonized by the Europeans back in 14th century, and it was mostly tribal area back then. And China, it was mostly an agricultural-based country before the communist revolution in 1949. And then Germany, it was mostly predominantly, it was an imperial power back in the day. It fought through many empires, but eventually formed the country in, after the reunification of Germany in 1981. So these 3 countries, they have something in common. These 3 countries, they have something in common. They all started with agriculture. So let's bring out some economics to this topic. So in economics, there are 3 types of industries in every country. So the first one is primary, secondary, and tertiary. So primary industry is basically agriculture industries. The people who are participating in agriculture, they are part of primary industry. And the secondary industry is manufacturing, factories, industries, everything else. And in tertiary, it is basically your offices, government services, banks, everything else comes under tertiary. So these 3 countries, they all over the past centuries, they went through all these 3 stages. Next one. But we come to these 3 countries, which are India, Indonesia, and Nigeria. These were mostly colonized by Europeans. So although they have some kind of industrial levels, just small factories, something, they did not have any major industrial revolutions like the ones and 3 countries that I mentioned. So these countries, they mostly, in these countries, the predominantly dominating sectors are primary and tertiary. So India is still let us take the topic of India, since we are all living in India, we'll know better about it. So let us take the topic of India. And in India, it's still a primary agricultural business. But slowly, due to this education and engineering, growth of IT sector, we are slowly transitioning into a service-based economy. But we missed one thing, that is industrial revolution. So where did this industrial revolution actually go? Why did Germany, China, and everything? We are the country had industrial revolution. Why not India? We'll explore this in today's presentation. That's India's missing industrial revolution. So I'm going to show you 2 images. I mean, boys can answer this pretty well. So out of these 2 images, which one interests you the most? Bike, racing bike, or a company? Racing bike, of course. Yes, like this. I'll ask the same question again, but different scenarios. And then you may know the top. So let's divide it into 2 categories: first 3 and the bottom 3. Now think again. Compare your answer to the first question, the first slide, first 2 images, and the answer to the these 3 companies, 6 companies. So will your answer change? Will you rather work at Google, Microsoft, Amazon, or Tata Motors, Royal Enfield, Tata? Kawasaki. Okay, but according to most engineering graduates, I mean, now they're not maybe not in this class, but outside, people would actually pick the first 3 because you get better pay, better recognition, more opportunities, more jobs, and high demand. So basically, you're not doing anything because we want jobs. And getting jobs in these Google company and this IT sector companies, it's very doable for us. But there are not many jobs in Tata Motors. Even if there are jobs, they are not very well paid. So what led to this? What led to this stigmatizing among Indians against blue collar jobs or the software companies that are not Google, Microsoft? Let us look at these reasons. So what led to this? The first major reason is license charts. So back in 1950s to 1990s, India was mostly a socialist republic where it was mostly following the footprints of Soviet Russia. So it was mostly a socialist economy, so everything was closed and private competitors could not get into India, and it was mostly everything was controlled by the government. So if you had to establish some kind of factory, you had to go through the cycles of bureaucracy like permission, establishment, and everything. It would take a long time. So this led to, and back then this was the time when there was not much IT, 1950s to 1990s. This was a time when there was more of industrial growth in various countries. Like take the example of China. China got independence just a year afterwards. It was in 1949. So what this change did is they, even though they were communist society, they kind of opened their economy for their industries, the companies to establish industries in China. So it was very easy for companies to get into China rather than India. So China kind of led these companies into a trap. So basically, China offered cheap labor and better government support to establish companies and other things. This attracted so many foreign investments in the country. Meanwhile, India it was mostly closed economy and there were very any investments coming. And the Indian economy kind of opened, the license was abolished in 1990, but then it was already too late. But at this point, there are no major industrial players looking for investment in Asia. So this was the time for service sector, which is IT. The IT kind of rose into prominence in around 1990s. Now this second one major thing being the education. Now you may have probably seen many people getting civil or mechanical in some good college, but they still end up taking CSC in some other private colleges. Why? Because there is a growing stigmatization. Now, why is stigmatization? Because of the license charts, there are not many good industrial companies in the country. We never had industrial revolution in the first place because of the license charts. China had its industrial revolution even after independence. We didn't have an industrial revolution because of this license charts, and it was there were not many core jobs in this country, and it's actually declining these days. So, because of the growth of IT in the country, our economy is going towards service-based companies. So these service-based companies, they rose in prominence, and many colleges are actually dropping out civil and mechanical. Actually, back in 1980s, mechanical was the go-to branch for it. It was the CSE of the 1980s. But now, mechanical is getting dropped. Like even take an example of a college. College mechanical studies around 30 civil is 44 or something. And our college recently got electronics and instrumentation as well. So the demand for core branches is dropping. So when we measure this, so we are giving less supply and there is less demand. So less new engineers, less core branch engineers, less factories due to the license charts pandemic, like I call it pandemic. So because of that entire system, we are losing jobs in the course. So mostly trading towards IT. So this is the rise of IT. This is the age of IT. Many American companies they are coming to India because we are expanded. Because India is a very cheap spot for companies to establish their office, and we are working with we are willing to work for less and we demand less salary. So it is very, they are just exploiting us and they are trying in the foreign countries. So in English it's neo-colonialism. Now the repercussions of all this problem are what happens if a country is too much service based and without any industrial backing. The future. I mean, you must have thought of the layoffs. Google is laying off many people. Like Google recently had its entire Python division, and Microsoft is the same, Facebook is the same, and it's growing, just growing. Now recently, Intel is laying off 50,000 employees. Google, Microsoft, everyone is laying off employees. Now when everyone is laying off employees, there will be a high rise in unemployment. Now because of this overgrowth, this over demand for CSE, we are producing a lot of CSE students, and there are so many jobs, but so many students, but less jobs. More jobs, more applicants, less jobs. So this is kind of creating and predicting the rate of unemployment. So if this continues, and if there is any kind of war, or any the government does something that's not happy to these foreign industries, companies will just quit and then fire the Indian workforce, and then just they'll be the ones spreading. And this is one of the areas of this growing service-based economy. And that is the area of growth. Now, recently, Indian government has proposed semiconductor plants. I mean, this Intel, Qualcomm, this type of plants. Actually, in India, most of these EC companies, they are mostly doing design applications. We are not actually manufacturing any CPUs or anything. We just designing them and we outsource this designs to companies like Taiwan. Taiwan is the leading manufacturer of semiconductors. And now Indian government is trying to bring those industries to India, but we are not sure how long it will take. And this will actually have jobs in them. And thank you.